I want to remind all of our listeners that we are in the midst of a very, very vital election season. And a lot of people that have never voted before are preparing to vote for the first time. And voting can be confusing. And if you're not used to it, it's a little bit weird and undaunting. Uh, so I'm going to ask all of you to go to generalectionla.com. It's some friends of ours, actually, former guest Vicky Acuna. It's her project, and there are resources for first time voters to learn how to register, how to research the propositions, how to research the candidates, and really just how to confidently place a vote this election. Uh, and again, I can't reiterate how important it is. Uh, Everybody's lives have been affected by COVID, and if we don't get uh, some real leadership in to take this pandemic and squash it, who knows what this industry is going to look like. So my plea to you: register to vote if you haven't yet. Make a voting plan. GeneralElectionLA.com will also help you with that. Uh, yeah, and go out there and let's bring democracy back. Thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of Spinning Platters Presents How Did I Get Here? Today, my guest is Lani Torres. She is one of the co-owners of the Ivy Room in Albany, California. If you don't know where Albany, California is, it's just a couple of BART stops north of Berkeley BART. It's a cool little room. It has kind of an old school dive bar feel with some incredible sound. Host to a lot of punk acts, a lot of hippie jam music. Yeah, they have live band karaoke sometimes, which is super fun. Also, one of the Northeast Bay home of karaoke with Dana Morgan, one of my favorite KJs. Uh, it's a really cool space. Lani was a wonderful person to talk to. We talked about how she got her start in bartending, how she kind of fell into the music business, talked about her first shows. Uh, we also, talked about what it takes to open a room in the Bay Area, especially in the suburbs. Uh, and we talked about, how they're handling things right now. We even talked a little bit about uh, drinking alcohol with the mask on. It was a good talk. It was a really good talk. I think you'll enjoy it greatly. Uh, so yeah, once again, thanks for joining us. Please remember to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Got some really good stuff in queue that I'm excited to share with you. And if you feel so inclined, please leave a review. Uh, reviews are Reviews help SEO, so they are how other people find out about this. And yeah, so crack open a can of mango White Claw and enjoy the show. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good, actually. I'm taking your advice, and it's a little early, but I'm drinking a White Claw.
uh, so when this podcast idea was still kind of in its infancy, my wife and I and our baby took a trip to Nevada City because that's the place we could go take a trip to. And she went to the store and she asked if she could pick up anything for me, and I said, a mango White Claw sounds really good. and
Yeah.
and then later that night she made some crack that was, and you can just go crack open a mango white claw, and I thought that's really funny. There's no reason for that to be funny, but that's funny.
I
So
like it that it's on all your episodes. It's good.
yeah, and it's a silly tagline for something that's not silly at all. I'm
White Claws have been helping me definitely through the pandemic for sure. I actually never had a White Claw until about a month ago, and they're
Wow.
awesome. Yeah.
They kind of are. So I found White Claw. I found White Claw. My friend that a friend of mine that puts on Burger Boogaloo, or the event formerly known as Burger Boogaloo. I don't know what they're going to be calling it next year, but both of those words are now bad. Um, but he asked me to MC their Halloween show in 2019. Yeah, that is last year still. Uh, and I said, sure, why not? Uh, and there was White Claw in the dressing room, and I thought, I should try this. Everyone's talking about it, everyone's making fun of it. I need to know. And opened one up and enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
and I realized there's no shame in hard sparkling water.
Oh, I love it. I get made fun of all the time by my bartenders, the indie bartenders. If they find out that I drink a white, why are you drinking a White Claw? What, yeah, that's probably why I've never had one. Just being a bartender at heart, you know,
Yeah,
it's
I
not, they're,
I
they're great. I love them.
all right. Normally this pre-chatter I tend to not include in the podcast. This this
Yeah.
this conversation might have to stay in.
Awesome. Yeah.
So,
Cool.
Lani, welcome to How Did I Get Here? My podcast where I talk to people that have done really big, awesome things about the steps they took to get there and their inspirations and whatnot along the way. Uh, so I'm very happy to have you here. You're
Cool. I'm super happy to be here. Thank you. I feel very, very special. Thanks for asking.
so I'm gonna kick this off with a question that every single person I've had on this show seems to really hate.
Okay.
What is like the what is the musical event that inspired you to make this your life?
Ooh, um, I don't know if there was one event. I mean, I have, some definite highlights. I love going to shows more than anything, more than working them. I mean, it's something I've grown up doing. Um, and when I was in high school, I used to come up to the Warfield to go to shows by myself. Sometimes, if I didn't have friends that were going to come with me. Um, and at one point, one of the security guys up front asked me, "Oh, you work for so and so, right?" And it was whoever at the time was ushering, who was in charge of doing all the ushering, because I had been there so much alone, that they just thought I worked there, And then pretty soon they just kind of like, "Hey, good to see you. Come on in." Even if I had a ticket, and so those moments, and I was 16. I got my license the day I turned 16, and those moments, I think that one in particular stands out for me, of like, this was my life, whether I was doing it alone or with friends. And I started preferring to actually go to shows alone. I'd meet people, and I lived in New York, and I literally would go to more shows alone than I went with friends, and it was awesome. you know um and I have a best friend that I went to high school, and we started going, we were best friends since second grade, but her and I still go to shows together. Obviously not today, but we still go to shows together, and we still are so synced up. And even when we went to shows when we were in high school, we would branch out and we'd say, "Hey, I'll meet you by this, pillar here." And if we get lost, and we would just take off and kind of go do our own thing and come back and share stories. So it's just, I've always loved music, and it's been a huge part of my life. So that's my story.
I'm curious, what was your first show?
Oh, my first show was at Shoreline. I was in the fifth grade, and my cousin had a cousin. It wasn't my cousin, it was her older cousin who was in high school. And she took us to go see the Beastie Boys Run DMC License to Ill tour, 1985. It was amazing. I mean, we were in fifth grade. We thought we were in, we thought we were 15. um, and it was great. It was awesome. It was my first experience, and then I just never stopped. I love going to shows.
Yeah, that's amazing that you went to that. I'm also surprised that that tour played Shoreline in 1985, but I guess Run DMC were pretty massive at that point, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah. It was a double. I mean, it was, the License to Ill and Run DMC had just come out with Walk This Way, that whole time period. So it was pretty amazing.
All right. Now I'm curious what your first Warfield show was.
Uh, Gosh. Oh,
I
I
ask you,
don't know. I don't know. Um, what was I seeing back in the day? Probably Faith No More, something like that. Um, in high school, uh, God, there were so many.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
it is easy to end up at the Warfield a lot.
yeah, yeah, I saw a lot of good shows there. I lots of great shows, good, awesome shows in the '90s. I saw Portishead there. I remember after the show ended, everybody just kind of got up and bowed. It was like this beautiful moment of oneness, that was really cool. Um, God, I don't know. Radiohead, so many shows. Like I'm blanking, but amazing shows at the Warfield for sure. I went there the most actually, probably up out of the Fillmore too, but for whatever reason I ended up at the Warfield more, I think, around that time.
Did you ever actually start ushering there, or did they just decide you were an usher?
They just decided I was one. I wish I was. I didn't know. I hadn't. I don't even. I didn't even know who they were talking about. I wish I knew now. Um, but I ended up becoming friends with all those guys, and even years later, as I started working at the Independent, I would see some of the same guys, and we'd say, "Hey," and literally, I mean, I was 16 years old the first time I had met some of those guys. And then I saw, they started working at the Fillmore and stuff, so they kind of just moved around, and it was cool. It felt like part of the club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one thing that I love about loved growing up in the Bay Area as well is the folks that worked at the venues seem to recognize the kids that went to a lot of shows, and
Yeah.
it felt like they made it a point to make them feel especially welcome because it was the same for me, and to this day, like I still see people that I met when I was like 15, 16 years old going to shows.
I mean, it is. It's like a tribe. I mean, when you get into working at venues, I mean, 90%, if not 95% of the people are there because they absolutely love music, So I think people kind of spot each other from, afar, and kind of say like, "Oh, they're part of this tribe, So at the Independent, I see a ton of regulars, and they're, "How you doing?" And I know they're show people, and it's awesome because you're there too watching a show, and you're kind of getting, all this great energy, and we all are kind of addicted to shows, right? So there's adrenaline rush happening, and it's awesome. I miss it so much. Well,
Yeah, so you and I and so many other people are having these. Oh, what's I'm spacing on the word when you show withdrawals seriously right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I daydream about what shows I'm going to go to and what it's going to be like and what it's going to feel like, And the first few months, I think I wasn't necessarily feeling that, I was just kind of dealing with the pandemic and having kids and, trying to save our business. And then, in the last few months, I've had room to kind of think about, wow, I miss shows so much, and I'm going to start daydreaming about them now. you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So to get back to shows, or to stay on shows, we've been on shows this whole time. Uh, what was your first job working in music? Like, where did you first the first time that you were like paid to be in a venue?
um, I my first bar job slash music, live music, DJ music was called the Blue Lagoon in Santa Cruz. And I had just turned 21 and I started coat checking there, and then I started bartending. And that was my first experience. There were a lot more DJs than live music then, but it was awesome, and then I moved to New York soon after that, and I got a job at CBGB's and the Bowery Ballroom, and um, I got a job at the Mercury Lounge before the Bowery Ballroom, and I was hired to be a cocktail waitress, and I was horrible at it, just horrible. So they they asked me if I wanted to do the door at the Bowery Ballroom, which was awesome. I ended up, which was basically the box office, but there wasn't really a box office. You're literally just at a podium at the door, and that was amazing. That was early 2000s when that whole book, Meet Me in the Bathroom, was kind of, I don't know if you read that book, but reading it now, it was like, yeah, I was there. All the bars, all the bands, all of it. It was that time period. And then CBGB's, I bartended there for the duration of when I was there, and that was amazing. And built a great family. It was actually hard to leave, but I kind of missed trees and Santa Cruz and just the greenery and whatnot. So I moved back to San Francisco and started working at the Independent. Yeah.
So were you working at either CBGB's or the Bowery Ballroom in October 2002?
Yes, both places.
Okay. I so did you by chance work the door during CMJ at the Gogol Bordello, Polyphonic Spree, Northern State, Robert Randolph and the Family Band show?
It's very possible. I definitely worked those shows, and um, I worked all those shows. So yeah, I mean, I probably was there. Yeah.
Right. I've actually told the story on this podcast already, but that was the first thing I did when I got to New York. The first time I ever went to New York, as I went to my hotel to check in and drop off my stuff, got a bagel sandwich, and then went to the Bowery Ballroom.
Oh wow,
And
that's
yeah, and this means you're the second person I've had on this podcast that was also there.
yeah, yeah,
It just makes me feel
uh,
super giddy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So just and also I realized that I think when I first encountered you at the Independent, I thought you seemed familiar.
Huh. Yeah, I was there. I mean, I was at the door most nights at the Bowery, and then of course CB's. I was there any nights that I wasn't at the Bowery. I mean, I worked my butt off. That's all I wanted to do. I mean, it was hardly work. You're having so much fun. I don't remember too many days off, But and that wasn't a bad thing. It was awesome. But yeah, it was just all about being at both of those places as much as I could. And that's what we did, that's where we wanted to be.
Yeah, and those three venues were all kind of historic, legendary venues. So it makes sense that they would help fulfill that addiction.
Yeah.
Uh, so when you came back to the city, you you got a job at the Independent. It seems like pretty quickly. I mean, it sounds like your resume was intact.
Yeah. Yeah. I was the only one that got hired actually off the street. Everybody, it was kind of like everybody kind of knew everybody. And I walked in one day and asked where the bar manager was. And him and I just hit it off. We went outside, literally put our backs up against the wall and just chatted. And it was awesome. And he hired me right there. And he'd already had his team. And it was just, it was awesome. It was meant to be. Yeah. So I was still kind of going back and forth. I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay in the city or go back to New York. I went back 3 times and subletted my room in the city. And then I realized that I needed to stay here, and I started really loving the Independent. Obviously, was great, and I mean, the Bay Area is my home, so it felt right to stay in the city.
You worked as a bartender there for feels like a number of years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still there as the bar manager, but yeah, I worked there from day one, the Independent, and then I went to bar manager in 2008.
Okay, so you've been bar manager for 12 years at this point. Uh, but then at some point you decided to do the crazy thing of open a venue while keeping your day job, which was also a night job at the same time. Uh, I have so many questions about all of this. So, how did you first find out that the Ivy Room was up for grabs?
It actually, we were talking with someone who was helping us look for a space, a bar at the time, our broker, and he was in Vegas at a convention, and he ran into somebody that kind of knew that the Ivy was up for sale before it was actually out there. And he said, "I think I found this great place for you guys," and it was, they do music sometimes, and just kind of, okay, great, we'll check it out, and we fell in love with it. We thought it was great. We checked, we were looking in Oakland and in San Francisco, and we were we were kind of looking all over the place, but this particular place just felt great. I love the history of it. Um, it was off the beaten path. I wasn't sure what we were going to do with it, so I thought, okay, maybe we'll just be a bar, a neighborhood bar. We'll kind of play it by ear and see what happens. And so we got the Ivy. It was, yeah, I wouldn't suggest it to anybody to work and keep your day job, which was at the Independent, which is just banging out shows. I mean, the Independent is just, we're, the calendar is just jam packed, and you want to work as much as you can. You love it. So it was interesting. It still is interesting doing two jobs, but I love them both.
So what's it like to open a venue for the first time? There's a lot of things that like feel feel like they'd be, there's a lot of things that I'm probably not even thinking of that it would take to open up a room from scratch. Like when you bought it, did all of like the different permits come in? What was it like wrestling with the city of Albany, which doesn't have a lot of live entertainment?
Yeah.
It to
Yeah, you're putting yourself out there. You're learning, new things. Obviously, this side of the business wasn't something that I was familiar with being at the venues that I had been at previously. So, dealing with banks and loans and contracts and all that stuff. And yeah, and, permits, and build outs, and just trying to make sure everything is how you want it, the stage, and running low on time, but we have to make sure the sound is good, just certain things like that. And it's challenging. It was challenging. I came home every night just exhausted. It's like going to college. You're basically learning something new every day, all day. And then you look back and you go, great, I know about this and that and permits and this and, and, um, but yeah, it was all new. And, one minute you're literally sweeping the floor, thinking about the build out and keep getting it clean. And the next minute the doors are opening and you're just kind of like, all I can think of it is like, maybe you'd understand. I know you'd understand this, is having a baby and having someone and then having it and going, we get to walk out of the hospital with this baby. There's no one here to help us. And, it's an interesting feeling to kind of get the keys to that, to new, that new huge thing that you have, it's cool. You don't know what you're doing. I mean, you're literally just putting one foot in front of the other too, and common sense and a lot of guts.
All right, to keep with the it's a baby theme, what was the gestation period? Like from this is the room that we're going to go for to your opening day. How long did that take?
We did it. Our turnaround. Let's see. We got the place in October 2015. We opened up pretty much exactly 2 months later. I think it was. If we got it October 15th, we opened up 12/15. So we, spent 2 months just kind of rearranging the room and building a stage and doing stuff like that. And then we opened up, and then we had our grand opening early in 2016.
That's crazy. I,
Yeah.
yeah, like I've so working at both Ticketfly and Eventbrite, I've seen a lot of venues open, and I've never seen anyone go from breaking the ground to opening their doors in 2 months. But yeah, like I've multiple rooms I can think of. Their opening day was delayed by at least a year.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely helped that it was a smaller room. I mean, it was already kind of doing. It was already, there were already shows there. They were on pallets at the time. The stage was, just a bunch of pallets, which is fine. But, we put our own little spin on things that we thought were important, like a good bathroom. The bathrooms there were horrible. But and the stage and the sound. And then we just kind of, we opened doors and we started having brass bands at first just because they were so festive and we wanted people to come in and have a good time. And so I feel like we had a lot of brass bands at the time. And then the calendar slowly started growing, and we just thought, oh, we're just going to do weekends. And then it was like, well, we'll do Thursdays and then weekends. And then next thing you know, I mean, by the time shelter in place hit, we were doing 7 nights a week, 2 days out of the week on Saturday and Sundays, especially Sundays. We were doing 2 shows a day, almost every Sunday and some Saturdays. So it was just like, we couldn't, there weren't enough, days in the week to fill how much we wanted to have music in that room.
Yeah, I'm amazed by the two different niches that you seem to really take over. And I don't know if this was on purpose or you managed to accidentally come across this, but you've managed to get the the more grown-up hippies and the grown-up punkers, two factions that would brawl in any other period, and you've managed to make it the home for those two sects of fan. Was that on purpose, or was that just kind of magic?
It was absolutely on purpose. I mean, it was something that it was like trying to put a square, I don't know what that thing is, a square into a hole. It wasn't easy, but it was, I mean, it's who I am. I know that. I'm a little hippie, I'm a little punk, I'm a little rock. I just love music. And I think we thought, if you're a 500 cap room like the Independent and you are a black box without any pictures on the wall, it's easy to have different bands in every night, but being a 200 cap room, it was hard. It's hard not to fly your flag, whatever that flag is, you know? Like, I know if I want to go see a show, a certain particular show, I'm going to look at what's going on at the Parkside, you know? If I want to go see something more contemporary, I'm going to go see what's going on at Yoshi's or whatnot, you know? And so we just really wanted to be, a, we just thought we were bigger than we were, you know? We really wanted to be able to have punk rock and jazz and blues, and I mean just everything. That's it was really hard, honestly. It was hard to have, you know, the young kids go in there and feel comfortable, and it was hard to have, you know, Charlie Hunter's crowd go in there, jazz crowd, and feel comfortable with you know, an old Motorhead t-shirt of mine on the wall, you know, and they feel great now. And it was just like, just everybody, you know, just hang in here. We're all going to be able to get along in here. And it did. At first it wasn't working and people didn't know how to deal with us. But now I think we're here, and, you know, punk rockers seem just as comfortable in there as you know, a cumbia night and so forth. So yeah, we love it. I'm super proud of having the diverse room that we do.
Yeah. So there are a handful of shows over the years that I'm really curious how you managed to convince to play a 200 cap room in essentially the suburbs. Uh, the first one is your first show that sold advance tickets. Charlie Hunter, like he plays SF Jazz, he plays the Fillmore. He's like has a long history of playing rooms so much bigger than that space. How did you convince him that he was gonna you needed him to open up your space?
Ah, um, I think we utilized, you know, the history of whoever it may be that has come through there. That's bigger. That, you know, it's more of an underplay vibe. You know, Charlie is from that area, and he went to high school there. He said he actually used to play pinball in high school at the Ivy Room when they used to let underage kids in there. You know, so you know, we you know, utilizing our contacts over the years, and who knows who that could give them a call and tell them we have a great room and we have a really good sounding room. Our sound system is awesome, and honestly, that helps, I think, with musicians, especially musicians like Charlie Hunter, um, just having really caring about the way our sound was in there. I mean, I hear it from them all the time, like, "Oh my God, it sounds great up here on the stage," you know. And I mean, we put in 1 ton of sand in that stage. I literally put them in sandbags, you know, literally in the bottom stage. So just things like that, I think, and word started spreading, and being in this community for so long and having friends and saying, "Here's a great stage. These, you know, these two owners are pretty cool chicks. Why don't you come play over here?" You know, stuff like that. So, and a lot of guts, you know.
One of the big things that I've learned throughout doing all of these is 90% of any movement in the music business is asking with confidence.
Yeah, yeah,
Like just saying, "Hey, can I do this?" And yeah, if you're nice and confident at the same time, people will generally say, "Yes, you can." It's crazy.
yeah. That's definitely how the Ivy is puts one foot, you know, in front of the other, and we just, you know, I don't know if it's fake it till you make it or whatever, but it's more like just having the guts to put your, you know, hang your neck out there and say, and then going, okay, well, we have to make sure we have this and that and this and that lined up, you know, like ticketing, you know, with the Charlie Hunter show. You know, you were huge help during that time. We had no idea what we were doing, and we pulled it off, and, you know, literally that day, you know, so stuff like that.
Yeah, and I remember getting to watch Charlie Hunter play pinball.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You've hosted a slew of 80s and 90s punk reunions that some of them I never expected to happen. Like I remember American Steel playing there. I there's a few other bands. So there's one that particularly blew my mind that you managed to make happen. And how did you get the living members of the Avengers? Like, basically, you got Danny Panic or Danny Furious. Getting my Danny drummers of the band mixed up. Uh, how did you convince that space to be your home for that? Like, did you ask? Did you court them?
Oh,
Did they court you?
oh, I Penelope's awesome. She's great. I think she loves the room. I think we've worked really well together. Their agent, their Todd and Leafy Green and Mickey and those guys have been really awesome to us, and I think they believe in us, so that's helped a lot. You know, I didn't know he was going to drum. That kind of just happened at the uh, that organically happened. Obviously, it wasn't supposed to happen or whatever. He hadn't played the previous shows, but we were so excited. I mean, everybody you just said, the Avengers also we were going to play in July of this year. American Still was going to play another show. They called us and said, we want to do another one, So this year's calendar I can't even tell you how amazing it was going to be. But those two bands in particular were going to play this year again, which is really sad. But yeah, it feels good in there. People are, I don't know. I don't know. I think we're all heart. I think when people walk in there, I'm literally, sweating, trying to do anything. I wear all hats and we all do. And we're just all heart and soul. And ultimately we're music fans and we love music. And I think that maybe that comes across and people just feel comfortable there.
It's a great space. It's a space you've also had one of the top four biggest rock stars from the Bay Area grace your stage a few times. The first time Billy Joe from Green Day decided he needed to test a new project at your room, what did you have to do differently about those shows? Because that definitely was someone that was going to attract a much younger crowd than you're allowed to take in. But also, like, I mean, Green Day play AT&T Park. That's a literally 1,000 times, no, literally 3,000 times bigger than your room.
They play in like Germany. I mean, they play huge stadiums that don't even exist in the States, It's pretty wild.
Yeah, like, did you have to do any, like, what did you do to protect your venue to make sure, like, your neighbors were still happy with you when those shows happened?
Yeah. I mean, the neighbors definitely came out of the woodwork, from whatever business to it. Such random, people came out. Oh, we'd like to come in. We haven't been into your space yet. And we work down the street, but we'd love to come see this show, in particular the Billy Joe's, cover up show. Yeah, the kids are great. I mean, their fans are they're pro fans, they wait in line, they're super respectful. I mean, he's such a good guy that I think their fans in particular, they're all great guys, honestly. And their fans, are a lot like him and a lot like them. It wasn't too hard. I think the hardest thing was selling tickets and everybody kind of upset that they didn't get one and thinking that we weren't selling them, but we were. And, if you're selling, if we're a 200 cap room and we're selling, 125, 150 tickets because we have to accommodate guest lists and stuff. And there's thousands of people that are trying to, hit the buy button. It's just, I don't think they realize how easy it is for the tickets to just fly off, So that was hard. That was tough to have a lot of people kind of be, it was our first experience with seeing social media and kids being bummed out that they couldn't get into the show. And I wanted to tell everybody, like, it's not us, we're not trying to screw you over. Cause I know what that's like too, and you just can't get into some shows. You can't hit the button sometimes and get into, and score a ticket. So that was probably the hardest part. But once we were on the ground, everybody was great. The band was awesome. They're so approachable, and it allows people to kind of just act calm and chill out a little bit when the band is so human, you know. And they're just, that's their hometown. I mean, I think Billy Joe's uncle used to hang out in the Ivy back in the day. From what I heard, they have like a coat check bar, like the bar that the coats used to be hung on, and that his uncle might have like taken it home in his jacket, kind of thing. And all of his family came in, and his sister still now. I've seen him at shows, and his brother and his mom and his wife. I mean, they're all super awesome and really, really kind and nice. The whole family, the whole community, and everybody, even everybody that was in the cover-ups in the band, and all their wives, and the whole Green Day camp. They're just so cool.
That is lovely. It's great to hear when really famous people are actually as good as they come off.
He's a testament. I mean, I've seen people less famous really cause a ruckus in there about certain things, and then here comes this mega rock star, and he's just so cool. And I've heard that from other people in different places. I mean, we had him at the Independent, and he was really easy. Hey, how's everything going? You know, um, they have their head about it. I just think it's awesome to be that famous and to be that grounded. I mean, it keeps you going, right? I can only imagine it's only been better for him and them. I keep saying him, but it's them.
Yeah, I have this theory that you can get so far being a jerk to people, and it's just you can become legitimately famous, but to get to the level that Green Day are at, I don't think you can do that without. I don't think you can do that while burning bridges. Like I think you have to be nice to everybody along the way and kind and generous and considerate to keep afloat at that level. Yeah. It's also they're one of the few bands where like the people that would see them at Berkeley Square in like 89 still listen to them, which is nutty to me. Yeah. So okay, you had a great calendar coming up. You've had a lot of great shows. I am making note. I think today was the day that Detroit Cobra show was supposed to be. So I was supposed to be
Oh,
at your room tonight,
breaks my heart.
which uh, they're a bucket list band for me. So I'll be there
Yeah.
whenever you guys get them.
Yeah, well, they're coming back. I mean, honestly, which it's so interesting. They have been a band that, for whatever reason, I they need to play at the Ivy, like because they are a band that I just really want. I've seen over the years, but for whatever reason, their records, living in Santa Cruz, being young, it reminds me of my early 20s. That band and their music, and just kind of full circle, seeing them at the Bowery Ballroom, seeing them at the Independent, but having them play the Ivy Room is just, for some reason, that band is just the band for me to have that. And we pushed it back, and it's going to be next in September of next year. So I'm so happy that everybody's trying and working really hard to make it happen. And, we've lost a lot of shows that it's just like, well, we'll figure it out down the line. If it could happen, maybe not. We're not going to do a makeup. We're not going to, figure out a makeup date. And that show has really worked hard to make happen. So when it does happen, it's going to be awesome.
Right. Well, I will be there in a year from today,
Yeah.
guaranteed. Well, not very many venues have done a really great job at flipping during this. Uh, but you've managed to kind of bring the community back together with your sort of weekend sidewalk little events, which blows my mind. Like, what was the inspiration for taking it outside and figuring out how to make the Ivy work?
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, it's what it ultimately comes down to of having of being open right now is just to have a place for all of us to go and talk. A ton of people come and they just really want to talk to Summer or I, and it was Summer and I that were doing every Saturday, Sunday for a while, and we just started doing Thursday through Sunday. And we have a few of our bartenders that are helping us now too, which is awesome. But people just want to say, hey, how you doing? How can we help? What's going on? We just want to talk, and we're at home all day long. And I think it's really just a place for that, and you start to realize that people need it. I need it. I get to get out of the house once a week and go, talk about mostly about music, but, just talk to, acquaintances, neighbors, whoever it might be, music fans, and we get to go down memory lane together. And that's really, it's kind of therapy, and then you throw in some slushies and, some merch and all that's great. And it's helping us stay afloat for sure. But I think it seems to be the most important part is the connection.
Yeah. And the slushy idea, because I don't remember you serving slushies in the regular Ivy room.
We
Like
had
you,
it back when we first started. We had slushies, but we had not built. Not as many people were coming through the room back in the day as they were. As we were growing, so we got rid of it because it's kind of a pain in the butt to clean that thing. So we had it early on, and we just didn't have the crowd that wanted it at the time either. And then we saw slushy start coming back around. And we thought, great, we know this. We know how to do this. Let's do this again. So, and it's been great. I mean, I have a slushy every time I go to work. They're awesome. Yeah.
it's amazing because like if you think about it, it's kind of it's it's something where the straw is small enough that you can slip it under a mask
Yeah.
and kind of keep going. It lasts a long time, but yeah, like it's the perfect social distancing alcoholic beverage, and I'm blown away that you've managed to like make jumping back to White Claw, you managed to make something uncool kind of feel cool and work right now.
Yeah, yeah, because you kind of, I mean, you don't have to use a straw, but honestly, you want to use a straw with the slushy, and so it is perfect for the mask. I mean, maybe I'm not even, I don't even think about having another cocktail because it's just so easy to have a slushy with, you have a face mask on the whole time that you're at work. So, I don't drink White Claws at work or beer or anything like that, because it would be too hard to drink. So the slushies are, and straws. Some people aren't into straws, but with a slushy, that all goes away. you know. Yeah.
That's beautiful. All right, so my last question to you. Thinking back to that 15-year-old Lani who was brought into the warfield by security, even though you had a ticket because they assumed you worked there. If you got to talk to her today, what would you say to her?
I'd say we did it, girl. We did it. We have managed to be in music, through. I mean, someone asked me what did I want to do when I grow up when I was younger. I said, I want to sit on a curb and play guitar. What? I don't care that I have to, if I don't get paid for it. And so now being able to, somewhat make a living, it is a labor of love, but being able to be around music the whole time, I'd say, yeah, we did it. We're here. You're still here. I mean, she's still here for sure. I haven't had to like put that on the shelf, which is amazing.
I'd like to thank Lani Torres for coming on the show this week. Tune in next week. We've got David Owen, one of the co-founders of Sketchfest, telling me everything there is to know about the fine art of motorcycle repair somehow. I don't know. That's not really what it is. I don't know why I keep trying to be funny on these. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will talk next week.